Have you ever been unsure about the future of your relationship? Have you ever questioned whether you should continue dating someone? Maybe you've made a pros and cons list, you've talked to some of your friends, and yet you're still trying to figure it out. Some of you guys had been asking this question to me, and doing some research for this video, I came across a thread on Reddit that was basically 5 questions that you should ask yourself if you're unsure about a relationship. So I thought in this video, I could respond to some of those questions. Maybe they're good, maybe they're not so good, give some of my input and feedback on them, hopefully they'll be helpful for you guys as well. And then also at the end, I'm going to share 2 questions that I think personally are super, super important that you need to ask yourself if you're questioning, if you have any question really about the relationship that you are in. And I truly believe by the end of this video, I believe you'll have much, much more clarity on whether you should move forward with the relationship or have an honest conversation with your partner. Before we get into it, as always, my name's Isaac and this is Men on Mission, where I equip you to lead and love like Jesus. That's the mission for this channel. So if that's something that you are interested in, I'd encourage you to subscribe because I'm putting out new content all the time. We're also hopefully going to start weekly video calls very, very soon. Once we hit 50 members on the Kindred Brothers Club on Patreon, which you can check out the link in my description, we're going to set up a time to start meeting weekly, talking about our struggles, talking about what we're going through, what we're experiencing as a man, our doubts, our questions. It's going to be a vulnerable, honest place for us just to meet together, hang out, have a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if that interests you, join in the link in my description. Here's the first question. If someone told you that you're a lot like your partner, would you take that as a compliment? If immediately your gut reaction is, ooh, like, no, like I wouldn't. Are you thinking about particular tendencies that they might have? Maybe it's they're quick to anger, right? Something happens, something inconveniences them. They're just immediately getting angry. Maybe it's a victim mentality. Every instance, that they could be possibly a victim, they are the victim. Somebody did this to me, or this happened at school, or this happened at work, or whatever else. And it's always they're the victim. Maybe it's gossip. They're just a perpetual gossiper and everybody knows it. They have that kind of reputation. And so somebody's saying, you're a lot like your partner in general. Is that a compliment or is that kind of an insult? If it's an insult, you got some work to do. You have some soul searching to do. This is the second question here. Are you truly fulfilled or just less lonely? I would probably change the terminology on this. Like I said, these are from Reddit. So I wouldn't necessarily say, truly fulfilled. I don't think that's the best way of saying it really, because I don't think ultimately relationships are for our fulfillment, our complete fulfillment. That's how the world sees relationships. If I'm not getting exactly what I need when I need it, then I'm just going to run away. If I'm not truly fulfilled, then you know what? Screw it. I'm done. It's like, no, that's not how it should be. But at the same time, we shouldn't just be looking to get in a relationship to be less lonely. Like, I definitely don't think that is the way to do it. So I think a way to ask this question is, am I using them? Am I using them? Am I using them to fulfill parts of me? Am I using them to quench loneliness? Because that's really a question about me and how I'm using them. This might just be, the relationship might be okay, but it just might be a matter of me reevaluating my motivations and refocusing them, trying to find my ultimate fulfillment in Jesus. And it's not just about me being less lonely, but rather, how can I serve this person? How can I be there for them? How can I love them? This needs to be an outward focus rather than an inward, trying to fulfill myself. The third question here is, are you able to be your real self, or do you need to act different to please your partner? The question is, who is your real self? Who is your real self? This is a tough question because we all, to some degree, manipulate who we are when we're with other people. Like, everyone does this. And we also kind of adapt, how we act because we want to be, especially on a first date, second date, third date, we want to be, the best version of ourselves. And I don't think that's what this is really getting at. It's not that, there's no, behavioral modification in how we're acting and how we're speaking, because no, I think that's a good thing. It's good to be sober-minded and self-controlled. The real question is, in terms of your like personality, in terms of, how you are, do you feel like you can be natural with the person? And that might take time. If you're early on, you might feel like, no, I can't be my real self. That's not necessarily a red flag if it's early on, I would say. But if it continually gets in this place of, no, I just can't be my real self, and I definitely need to act different in different ways. I'm walking on eggshells constantly. I'm trying not to upset my partner, or they're just upset with how I talk or how I think or how I act, and they're constantly, at me for it. I would just say, this is probably not a healthy relationship. This is probably not somebody that you want to be with, because it's just miserable, honestly. So I would say, if you feel like on a consistent basis that you just have to be a completely different person, you're walking on eggshells, I would say that this is something to heavily consider. Fourth question here is, are you in love with your partner now, or their potential, your idea of them? This is something that guys and girls really get caught up in sometimes, because maybe you find them really pretty. You're like, oh man, they're beautiful, right? And yet their character isn't really there. And so you're thinking, okay, well, they're really pretty, and maybe I can kind of like reform them. I can kind of like help them along. And that's kind of selfish. You make sure you want to help them, but you also want to create them into the perfect partner for you. This is a love that's contingent on them becoming who you want them to be. This is not the way you want to start or continue a relationship. You need to be honest with yourself and say, okay, if they didn't change, because we all change, we all grow, like that's just part of life. But really, truly, can you love who they are now? Can you love who they are now and speak positively about them, seeing their what they have and what they're talented about, and their good tendencies, their good things about them? Or are you kind of like, yeah, man, there's a lot of bad things about them right now, but maybe in the future things will get better. Hopefully in the future things will get better, or just a little bit more of my input and they'll be a better person. That's not a road that you want to go down, really. The fifth question here, would you want your future child to date someone like them? Here's the thing. We often can put up with things and be okay with things that if we were to see in someone else's life or in another relationship, we would see as a problem. Okay, this is so true. We might be in what other people would consider a controlling relationship. They control you. They're constantly telling what you can and can't do, how you can act, what you should say, when you should speak. You're walking on eggshells like we talked about earlier. Whatever, you're changing who you are. Somebody else is looking at your relationship and seeing this, but you're thinking, well, I know it's not ideal. I know they don't treat me the best. And yet, you know what? I just don't want to be alone again. Or I really don't want to lose this person because maybe they will change. But I want you to think, would you be happy about your child dating someone like this, being in a situation like this? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. You'd be pretty, you might be upset about it. And you'd say, okay, you know what? I know you like this person, but this is just not a healthy situation. And so it might be partially your fault, might be partially the other person's fault. But if you recognize, man, I'm in a relationship that I wouldn't want my child to be in, full stop. Like, have that honest conversation. I'm not saying you should necessarily break up, but I'm saying that, hey, like, air out what is going on. What is the problem here? Because if it's not good enough for your future child, like, why are you continuing to be in this too? Okay, now to my two questions. And I think, honestly, these sum up what you need to be thinking after asking these other five, okay? The first question is, do they want to grow? Do they want to grow? Because it's one thing to struggle with temptation and sin and anger and gossip and complaining and all the things that we struggle with in our life, right? That are not great on our character. And yet, do they want to grow? Do they want to see change in their life? Like, that is a huge piece. Because if they don't care, if they're apathetic to it, then you have a real problem, because not only are there problematic things in their life, but they don't want to grow from them. The second question here goes hand in hand with this is, do they see their faults? I hope I used the right version of there. There were many times where we would individually, we would make a mistake within our relationship. And like, I remember saying, like, hey, I know this is a thing I do. I know I get, whatever it is, self defensive quite a bit. Whenever I'm kind of confronted about an issue, I just get defensive. And I told her that. I'm like, I know I do this thing and I don't want to, but I know I do it. So I'm admitting it to you now. I want to grow from it. I know it's an issue in my life. And so you might say, you know what? Isaac struggles so much with this kind of defensiveness whenever he's confronted, just write him off. But if this is somebody that you truly love, if this is somebody that you truly want to be with, then you should see their sign that the evidence that they see their faults, they want to grow. That's an amazing place to start. I want to hear from you guys. Which one of these questions for you in your relationship was most helpful? I would love to hear from you. I really appreciate all you guys watching this content. And until next time, keep pursuing the mission.